One question that we hear from church leaders all the time is, should we be doing email communication? To that, we would say 100% yes. While email communication sometimes can get really noisy, or you see a lot of bad examples of email communication in your own inbox, it's still a really strategic way to not only communicate with the people who are already in your church, but also start building relationships with new people who are looking to join your church family. So, as you think about email communication, and when I hear from churches who are really kind of thinking about stopping email communication, a lot of times we hear like, Nate, my email open rate is somewhere around 20%. In fact, a lot of times that's kind of the average, 20 to 40%. The click rate is low, like they're struggling getting people to actually take action based on their email. Maybe even you see somewhere around 3%, which is some of the industry average. And even so, a lot of churches are seeing that their email list isn't even growing. It's just staying the same. And if it's staying the same, it's actually decreasing because people are unsubscribing because their emails aren't strategic or meeting families where they are. And so you might be feeling one or multiple of those things as you look at your own email plan. And so over the next few minutes, we're going to talk about some ways that will make your email plan more strategic and help you not see results like this. So one question you might ask is, how should our church be using email? Well, there's three main ways. The most obvious way is communicating with regular members. This is important because you really want your regular members to be in the know as to what's going on in your church. And email is a great way to do that because you can be sure that everyone is receiving the information. And if it's strategic, if you make it worth their time, then they're going to be on the lookout for it as well. The second reason for using email is to welcome new families. This is one that we see overlooked all the time. Welcoming new families over email and even text is really, really, really important. Because imagine a time whenever you were booking your last vacation. And what if you decided on a resort to go to and you booked the hotel and then you received nothing from them? Would you feel confident about getting on the plane and going to that resort? Probably not, because you didn't hear anything. You didn't get a confirmation email. You didn't get a get ready for your stay email. You didn't get fun pictures or anything like that to get you excited about your trip. No, you didn't, and so you're not confident. A lot of times we leave new families feeling this exact same way whenever they interact with our church. So this is a really strategic way you can use email. We'll talk about how you can do that here in a little bit. So 3 ways that your church should be using email. 1, regular members. 2, welcoming new families. And 3, special events. We want the community and your members to know when big things are coming up. And so email is a great way to get out details and get people excited and prepared and even engaged in inviting new families to your strategic events. Now, you may be already using email in these ways and you're still seeing results like this. So you're like, Nate, how can I make my emails more strategic? Well, here's a couple ways, couple simple practices that will help you make emails more strategic. 1, it's important for emails to be personal. I love that our church does a newsletter every single week. I know it's coming early in the week, and it starts off with a letter from the pastor. We hear from the pastor most Sundays of the year, and so getting to hear him share his heart, a follow-up from the message or something that he's excited about really means a lot. So what am I going to do? I'm going to open this email because I know it's coming from my pastor, which is a really cool structure to a weekly newsletter to your regular members. Now, if you're thinking about new families, you also want the email to come from somebody that they potentially engaged with that summer. You want it to come from a person who's on the staff. It has a higher open rate whenever it comes from a person and not from info at, or a generic email. So you want to make sure your email is personal. You also want to simplify your call to action. A call to action is something that you put in the email to encourage a next step. A lot of times when we're looking at church emails, there's 85 things and it looks more like a bulletin board than it does an email. It'd be important for you and your church staff to figure out what is most important for us to communicate and stick to communicating those things. We like to say you want to have a max of 3. That's hard because there's a lot of communication that has to happen, but that refining process will be well worth it. You also want to make sure that you design your emails mobile-friendly design, because about 80% of the people who are viewing your newsletter or your emails, they're gonna pull it up on their phone. What do you do whenever you're not sitting at your desk? You're checking your email on your phone. And so you wanna make sure your email is designed for mobile. If it's not, they're gonna skip it on their phone. So you want your emails to be personal. You wanna simplify your call to action. You also want to add value. Have you ever gotten an email before and you're like, this was not meant to be sent to me? I know I have. So this is where segmenting your lists come in. You want to have a group on your email list that's for children's parents and student parents. You shouldn't be sending information about students to the children's parents. And so that's one way you can add value, is by making sure everybody has the right message and making sure that it's something that's worth reading. You can do that by sharing stories, providing family discipleship resources, so many different ways to add value. It's a really fun way to be creative. And finally, make your emails skimmable. You can make an email skimmable by using bullets, or strategically using bold font or italics or emojis. This will help people draw their attention to the parts of the email that matter and not just be like information overload like the bulletin board we talked about earlier. We hope that looking at some of these best practices for email communication has been helpful for you as you're planning how to strategically communicate with the members of your church and the people of your community. If you still have some questions about how you can become more strategic in the world of email communication, check out the description below and fill out the form and upload a screenshot of your church's most recent email newsletter. And our team will take a look at that and send you an email, or maybe even like a video review of your church's most recent email newsletter with some feedback and some practical next steps of how you can become more effective in this way. Know that Connect Ministries is always here in your corner, ready to help you and your church become more effective at reaching the people of your community and getting them involved into the life of your local church.